According to the National Electrical Code, it is not permissible to install a GFCI or ground fault circuit interrupter directly above a bathtub. The National Electrical Code mandates the installation of GFCIs in bathrooms and other damp or wet environments where there is a potential hazard of electrical shock. However, the code specifies that these GFCIs must be situated outside the immediate bathtub area, maintaining a minimum clearance of 1.5 meters, which is equivalent to 5 feet from the outer edge of the tub. The primary function of a GFCI is to provide protection against electrical shock by swiftly interrupting the flow of electricity in the event it detects a ground fault. A ground fault occurs when electrical current deviates from its intended path and flows through an unintended conductor, such as water. In the context of a bathroom, a ground fault could arise if an electrical appliance inadvertently falls into the bathtub or if water infiltrates an electrical outlet. Installing a GFCI directly above a bathtub would compromise its effectiveness in preventing electrical shock. The device would be unable to detect ground faults occurring within the tub area itself, thereby leaving occupants vulnerable. In situations where the installation of a television above a bathtub is desired, it is imperative to utilize a low-voltage television explicitly engineered for use in wet environments. Adherence to the manufacturer's installation guidelines is crucial, and it is strongly recommended to engage a qualified electrician to conduct a thorough inspection, ensuring the installation complies with all safety regulations. Ground fault circuit interrupters, often referred to as GFCIs, are essential safety devices designed to protect individuals from electrical shock. They operate on the principle of monitoring the balance of electrical current flowing between the hot and neutral conductors in a circuit. Under normal circumstances, the current flowing through the hot conductor should precisely equal the current returning through the neutral conductor. However, when a ground fault occurs, a portion of the current deviates from its intended path and flows through an unintended path, such as a person's body, to ground. This imbalance in current is immediately detected by the GFCI. When the GFCI senses a discrepancy in current flow, typically as small as 5 mA, it rapidly interrupts the circuit, typically within a fraction of a second. This rapid interruption prevents sustained electrical shock, which can cause serious injury or even death. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides comprehensive guidelines for the proper installation and use of GFCIs in various locations, particularly those susceptible to moisture or water exposure. These locations include bathrooms, kitchens, laundry rooms, outdoor areas, and construction sites. The NEC mandates GFCI protection in these areas to minimize the risk of electrical shock hazards. For instance, in bathrooms, GFCI protection is required for all receptacles serving the countertop areas. This measure ensures that any electrical appliances used near sinks or water sources are protected by a GFCI. Similarly, in kitchens, GFCI protection is often required for receptacles serving countertop areas within a certain distance of the sink. Outdoor receptacles, such as those used for powering garden tools or holiday lighting, also typically require GFCI protection to safeguard against electrical shock hazards in wet conditions. Construction sites are particularly hazardous environments due to the presence of temporary wiring and the potential for exposure to water and other conductive materials. The NEC mandates GFCI protection for all 125-volt, 15 amp and 20 amp receptacles used on construction sites to protect workers from electrical shock injuries. Proper installation of a GFCI is critical for its effective operation. The device should be installed according to the manufacturer's instructions and local electrical codes. It is also essential to regularly test GFCIs to ensure they are functioning correctly. Most GFCIs have a test button that, when pressed, simulates a ground fault condition, causing the device to trip and interrupt the circuit. It is recommended to test GFCIs at least once a month to verify their functionality. If a GFCI fails to trip when tested, it should be replaced immediately. It's important to note that GFCIs are designed to protect against electrical shock hazards caused by ground faults. They do not protect against overloads or short circuits. For protection against these types of electrical faults, circuit breakers or fuses are required. Circuit breakers and fuses are designed to interrupt the flow of electricity when the current exceeds a safe level, preventing damage to electrical equipment and reducing the risk of fire. In summary, ground fault circuit interrupters are indispensable safety devices that play a critical role in preventing electrical shock injuries. By monitoring the balance of current in a circuit and rapidly interrupting the flow of electricity when a ground fault is detected, GFCIs provide essential protection in locations prone to moisture or water exposure. Adherence to the National Electrical Code guidelines for GFCI installation and regular testing are crucial for ensuring their effectiveness and maintaining electrical safety. When installing a television above a bathtub, several safety considerations must be taken into account to prevent electrical hazards. Water and electricity are a dangerous combination, so it is crucial to minimize the risk of electrical shock when using electrical appliances in or near a bathtub. Firstly, it is imperative to use a television specifically designed for use in wet environments. These televisions are typically low voltage and are constructed with waterproof or water-resistant materials to prevent water from entering the internal components. Look for televisions that are certified for bathroom use and have an appropriate ingress protection, or IP rating. The IP rating indicates the level of protection against solid objects, such as dust, and liquids, such as water. A higher IP rating indicates greater protection. Secondly, the television should be installed by a qualified electrician who is familiar with the National Electrical Code requirements for bathroom installations. The electrician will ensure that the television is properly grounded and that all wiring connections are made safely and securely. Additionally, the electrician will ensure that the television is installed at a safe distance from the bathtub to prevent accidental contact with water. According to the NEC, electrical receptacles and other electrical equipment should be located at least 1.5 meters, or 5 feet, away from the inside edge of the bathtub. Thirdly, consider using a GFCI protected circuit to power the television. A GFCI, or ground fault circuit interrupter, is a safety device that detects ground faults and interrupts the flow of electricity to prevent electrical shock. If a ground fault occurs, the GFCI will trip and cut off power to the television, reducing the risk of injury. Fourthly, ensure that all wiring and connections are properly sealed and protected from moisture. Use waterproof connectors and sealant to prevent water from entering the electrical components. Additionally, consider using a conduit to protect the wiring from physical damage. Fifthly, regularly inspect the television and its wiring for any signs of damage or wear. If you notice any cracks, frayed wires, or other damage, disconnect the television immediately and have it repaired by a qualified electrician. Sixthly, never use the television while you are in the bathtub or shower. Even if the television is designed for wet environments, there is still a risk of electrical shock if you come into contact with water while using the device. Lastly, educate all members of your household about the potential electrical hazards associated with using a television in the bathroom. Make sure everyone understands the importance of following safety precautions and avoiding contact with water while using the device. In addition to these safety precautions, it is also important to consider the aesthetic and functional aspects of installing a television above a bathtub. The television should be mounted securely and at a comfortable viewing angle. Additionally, consider the placement of the television in relation to other bathroom fixtures, such as the sink and toilet. It's important to choose a television that is appropriately sized for the bathroom. A television that is too large may be overwhelming and detract from the overall aesthetic of the room. Conversely, a television that is too small may be difficult to see from the bathtub. Consider the viewing distance when selecting the appropriate television size. In conclusion, installing a television above a bathtub requires careful planning and attention to safety. By following these safety precautions and consulting with a qualified electrician, you can enjoy the convenience of watching television in the bathroom without compromising your safety.